Oh mio babbino caro, mi piace bello, bello andare in Porta Rossa a comperar l'anello. Sì, sì, ci voglio andare. E se l'amassi indarno, andrei sul ponte vecchio, ma per buttarmi in arno mi struggo e mi tormento. Oh Dio, vorrei morir. Babbo, pietà, pietà. Babbo, pietà, pietà. Hey, who writes these things? Someone asks. The answer is Giacomo Puccini. Hey, David. Hey, Dad. Hey, Neurogeezer. Hey, good evening, Mobius. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Richard. Yes, that's Amore. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hey, Leslie. When the moon hits your eye. I mean, that gets recommended with some frequency. I got to do it at some point. But it has a real patina of horror and shame all over it. And also comedy from that famous video of that guy attempting to sing it in that church in South Dakota or wherever. Look that up. It's incredible. Okay, so that was obviously that's not the original key. This is an aria that's sung by a soprano. It's a woman who is begging her dad to. She wants to marry this guy, and she's basically. It's sort of it's a little bit of a tantrum aria. She's saying, "If you don't let me go to this place to buy the ring." I don't know why she's buying the ring, by the way. I'm not sure. Maybe that was the tradition. I was in this opera once, I should know. But I didn't play this role, and I didn't play the role of the guy that she wants to marry. So she says, listen, I'm going to go buy the ring. If you don't let me, I'm going to throw myself off the bridge into the river. It's a full-on tantrum. Oh no, she says, and if I loved him in vain, I'll go to the bridge and throw myself off. I'm in torment. I'm in a maelstrom. I want to die. Please, Daddy, please have pity on me. Oh, oh, mio babbino caro. So people mishear it if they don't know Italian or whatever. It sounds like the person's saying, oh, mio bambino. Bambino would be my son. But this is a girl saying to her daddy. So babbo is dad, and babbino is it's like an affectionate diminutive for dad. So daddy, I like him. He's gorgeous. I want to go to Porta Rossa. I guess that's the shopping mall to buy the ring. Yeah, I want to go there. And if I loved him in vain, I'm going to go to the Ponte Vecchio, It's like the George Washington Bridge of Florence. I'm going to go there and throw myself in the Arno. The Arno's the Hudson. Mi struggo e mi tormento. Mi struggo e mi tormento. Oh Dio. Oh God, I want to die. Vorrei morire. Babbo pietà, pietà. Babbo pietà. Pietà. Anyway, this is one of the great soprano arias. It's like one of those ones that people will do in an encore situation, you know, when the audience is yelling and saying, "Come back and sing something." Wow. Hey, Astral Shoals. Hey, everybody. Wow, we have the comment section is going bananas again tonight. We have tomatoes, we have frisbees, we have pizza. Did the tantrum work? Oh, good question, Dad. That's a very good question. Again, I look, it's a comedy. The opera's Johnny Skeeky, and it's a comedy. I think the tantrum does work. No spoilers, but I think she gets her man. He sings an incredible aria. Okay, so this is a super famous aria. It's the most famous aria by far from this opera, Johnny Skeeky, which I was in once. It's a one act. It's a comedy. It's a very funny situation. It's these people who are all rapacious. They're trying to claim bits of an inheritance. Somebody's dying, and they all want their piece of the inheritance. So it's like the reading of the will and the fight over the reading of the will, that kind of thing. But in the midst of this, there's two young lovers. That's why this aria happens. And then the other guy sings this incredible, the tenor, the love interest, his name is Rinuccio. And Rinuccio has an incredible aria. You know, like the way Springsteen sings about Jersey, or I don't know, Frank Sinatra sings about New York, New York, or help me out here. What other singers are really associated where they sing as they just have these love songs to the place they're from? Anyhow, this tenor sings about Florence, Firenze, like a tree in bloom. I think that's the aria. If you jump off the George Washington Bridge, should you face north or south of So let me just respond. David asks if you're throwing yourself, which way should you? First of all, don't do that. If anyone is having thoughts of doing anything like that, don't do it. Talk to a professional. A professional, anything, in fact, at that point. It doesn't matter what profession. Just talk to a professional. Speaking of which, I'll get back to that question, but I had this acting job today, and I was dressed in like medical outfit, and we were shooting inside a hospital somewhere in Manhattan, and I was standing outside the hospital talking to a few of the other people who were working on the show, and these two young guys walk up to me, and they say to me in Spanish, they show me this document, and they start asking me a question, and I realized they thought I was an actual doctor, and I said to them, no soy doctor, soy actor. And I said, go, I pointed to the entrance to the actual hospital. That was kind of interesting. So anyway, David's question about, in fact, there is a study about the people who've done that from the Golden Gate Bridge, and there was a big article in the New Yorker about 20 years ago about that whole business, and they interviewed some people who survived that leap. A few in fact, the two most memorable things from that article, I think Friend was the name of the author. I could be wrong, but Tad Friend, maybe. And the incredible thing, there were two incredible things. First of all, there was a quote that I'll never forget. It might be the most memorable quote from any article I've ever read. One of the people who survived that leap, he said, when I went over the rail, when I jumped, I suddenly had this thought that every single problem in my life, this is just amazing. He said this to himself in that instant. He said, I realized that every single problem in my life had a solution, except that I just went over the rail of the Golden Gate Bridge. Everything else I realize now as I'm going, I realize now everything else has a solution except this. I just think it's just such an incredible, I mean, talk about an epiphany. Wow. So the other really memorable thing in that article is that, in fact, the people, when they do that, even though it's the act of desperation, and it's an act of surrender, and it's an act of loneliness, and yet almost all of the people do that facing the city. They face south to the city instead of north to, I guess, the wilds of Marin County. I might have the geography wrong, but when they do that act of desperation and that ultimate act of separation, they're still looking towards civilization. It's pretty amazing article if you can find it. Mobius says, the Ponte Vecchio is filled with jewelry shops. Yes, I've been there. It's very cool. Ponte Vecchio. There are these bridges in Italy where the bridges are built up in a way where there are these little shops all over the bridge. There's the Rialto Bridge in Venice. There's the Ponte Vecchio. I would face downtown, the city, because it's life affirming. Yeah, I think that's what people do. There are too many jewelry shops on the Arno. Okay, what I want to know is, what's this Porta Rossa? She says, I want to go to Porta Rossa, which I think is like Paramus, to the mall. Porta Rossa. Firenze. They're my giant fingers. Pardon those. Firenze. Porta Rossa. Oh, it's a street. That's it. So it's a street, apparently, where the jewelers were. She wants to go. My only remaining question is, why is the woman buying the ring? Oh, I get it. It's like a dowry. That must be it. So she's saying, Dad, let's go get the ring so then we can go get the guy. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. I want to see if that song is in the book, since a few people have requested it, and now I have it on my mind. And then I want to talk about a couple of things that happened today when I was shooting my scene in that series. It was very fun day, very fun job. Again, just a great crew and colleagues, and the whole thing of working on one of those shows where there's hundreds of people all aiming at the same target to get these shots and get these scenes and then get it all done. It's just a really fun thing, especially if you're freelance, where a lot of times you're working on your own, to then suddenly be in the middle of a well-oiled machine. That's how I think of it. That's how it feels. I'm missing a lot of context here. What are you guys talking about? You know what, Donald? I'm going to fill you in, but I love that. Please print that and make that a t-shirt. It's a sort of existential comment you're making. It's like being a human. That's a good way of describing it. I'm missing a lot of context here. What are you guys talking about? I feel like that's what every human should say all day, every day, about just the insanity and the wonderful chaos of being alive. I want a ring. Leslie says, I want a ring so big I can't hold my hand up. All right. May you get that ring. And also, then I was thinking, a ring so big that when you throw yourself in the Arno River, Um, my first words as a baby. That's good. I'm missing a lot of context here. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, that's a good first. That's amore. Oh, all of me. That's a good song. That's good schmaltz, but that's good schmaltz. That's not. That's not like schmaltz schmaltz. It's good schmaltz. Oh, that's amore is in this book also. Holy macaronis. We got to do this. Okay, page 20. And then we'll do that. That's my plan. By the way, when I was working in Italy, I had a friend a friend named Andrea. First of all, Andrea in Italy is a man's name. I think it can be both, but I once went, Christmas of 96, I took a boat late at night from Naples to this island of Stromboli. I went to Stromboli, and I got off the boat and I was looking for Andrea, who I had corresponded with. This was pre-internet. I had corresponded, and then so I knew that I was going to be staying at the bed and breakfast of someone named Andrea. So I got to the little dock there, and I didn't see Andrea. And then I went and stayed in another hotel. And then later on my stay, it's such a small island, I met Andrea. I was looking for a woman because I thought Andrea was a woman. Andrea was an old guy who was there on the dock waiting for me. Wires crossed. Stromboli. Why the hell did I bring that up? I don't know. I'll think of it. All of me. Why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips, I wanna lose them. Take my arms, I'll never use them. Your goodbye left me with eyes that cry. How can I go on, dear, without you? You took the part that once was my heart, so why not take all of me? All of me. You took the part that once was my heart, once was my heart, was my heart. So why not take all of me? All right, that's words and music by Seymour Simons and Gerald Marx. 1931. All of me. All of me. In the musical that All of Me is extracted from, the scene is between a cannibal and a tourist, and the tourist is suffering terribly from the piecemeal fashion in which the cannibal is preparing him. So he says, why don't you just take all of me? Another one of those augmented chords. Was that augmented? I don't know if we had anything augmented, but we definitely had we had this B flat minor 6. You took the part. That's the B flat minor 6. You took the part that once was my heart. I just think that's really beautiful. Part that once was my heart. So, anyway, so why not take all of them? There it is. Yes, Stromboli is volcanic, and the crazy thing is the beach is black sand. The beach, the sand is black because it's volcanic. I guess it has volcanic origins, like the ash that gets thrown up. And when I was there, it was actually active. You could walk up it. There's a little hike, and then sort of look down from a vantage above the opening, and look down and see the kind of the smoke and a little bit of like lava shooting up and then turning into stone right there. Yeah, and it was an Ingrid Bergman movie. That's right. Pinocchio, Signorina. Go to the Piazza della Signoria, have an espresso, and contemplate the bonfire of the vanities. Okay, Mobius. Ring of Fire. That's a good song. Oh, that's Amore. I have no idea if this is in a key. This is what I wanted to talk about. So, um, so when I got really, first of all, let's give a round of applause for the Q train. It's miraculous. It's a new addition to the landscape, well, to the subterranean scape of New York. The Q train. I got from here in Williamsburg to 96th and 2nd Avenue. I mean, it was crazy in less than a half hour. So, the world might be falling apart. Government might be wasteful sometimes. We have a lot of problems. But the Q train. Okay. So I'm sitting there outside my trailer because the trailer was locked for a moment. I'm sitting there. I see this. First I hear just a blood curdling. It's the scream of a tween. The scream of a tween who's hanging from her mom's arm, and she's saying, "I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it." But it was beyond a kvetch and beyond a tantrum. It was like a full-on meltdown. It was a volcanic meltdown by this tween, and her mom is like just walking along with her. And then the girl seems to say that she has to also she has to pee on top of it all. So I'm just sitting in the sun basically outside my trailer. And as they're walking by, I just realized, in my trailer, it's a nice trailer I had today. It wasn't one where I had to then leave to go to another trailer. There was an actual bathroom in my trailer. So I just said to the mom, I said, I have a bathroom right in there. So you can just, so it was like a minor miracle. I was able to give this tween and her mom exactly what they needed at that moment to relieve some of the tantrum. She was still having a meltdown, but it was less of a meltdown. And when they went in there, they gave me their little Pomeranian to hold on to. I've never had a real moment with a Pomeranian before. Very sweet, like a little fluffy, sort of like our beautiful little Fafi, who's a Chihuahua Shih Tzu, but then with wearing a giant like wig, like she just put her finger in a socket. An incredibly fluffy dog, very sweet. Then, I'm not 2 minutes later, maybe 3 minutes later. I don't know. A woman walks by with her two kids. Turns out they're twins, and she's pointing to the trailer doors. Where each room has the name of the character who's going in there, and that who has their costumes in there and all that. So she points to one door and she says, "That's where the police officer is, and this is where and she points to my door. She's showing her kids how these movie trailers work. And she points to my door, and I say, "Yeah, that's me. I'm the guy who plays that thing." And then she says, "Oh, my boys, these twins, they're auditioning for stuff," and I was explaining to them how the whole thing works. Turns out they live right on that block, and her husband, the dad, runs a thing where actors show up to work to just do their monologues in front of an audience of fellow whatever, and then they hang out and have a drink. So it was a really great kind of miraculous New York situation. just sitting there, and then all sorts of interesting serendipitous stuff happens. But the tantrum, then it got me thinking, the tantrum on the street, and then this tantrum aria from Johnny Skiki. That's what happens. People lose their tempers, especially kids with their parents. It's an ancient thing that happens. Drop D is easy to tune to. Instead of having to tune the whole guitar down to B, that's why I have one. And Donald and Richard are talking. They're talking the details, the minutia, the expert. When do we get the Great Dane? David asks. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. We're picking up the puppy. It's very exciting. Yeah. Tomorrow at 6. T-minus 21 hours. Oh, I forgot to say, this is the no-show. Thank you for tuning in. This is the no-show for the 3rd of May, 2024. If you're doing numerology, that's 3-5. If you're doing it European style, it's 3-5-2-4. Now, if you add the 3 and the 5, that's an 8. If you take the 2 and multiply it by the 4, that's also an 8. Coincidence? You decide. The dog is incredibly cute. I'm going to text you a picture of the dog. And anyone else who wants to see the dog, send me an email. Put it in the comments if you want. And send me my email, ehbase@gmail.com, ehbase@gmail.com. Oh, we're still going to try to do this amore, this love song. You know those people who lick their finger before they turn a page? Or before they lick their thumb before they count off cash when they're paying you a wad of cash? Okay, I'm definitely sending you a picture of the dog. So Astral Shoals says, open tunings make string instruments easier to play. I imagine that's when you actually tune it so that without any action with your left hand, you're just getting like a major chord or something. Is that what that is? This one has an A minor 7. That's what the ukulele is tuned. If you don't do anything, it's an A minor 7, which is also a C6, I've learned. It's the same thing, sort of. I'm still looking for this song. There it is. That's Amore. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza, that's amore. When the world seems to shine like you've had too much wine, that's amore. Bells will ring, ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling, and you'll sing Vita Bella. Hearts will play tippy-tippy-tay, like a gay tarantella. Oh boy, this song, it really has a lot of baggage for me. When the stars make you drool just like a pasta fazool, that's amore. So in our neighborhood in the Bronx, there were a lot of Italian people from Napoli and from that area, from southern Italy. And we would go to this Italian restaurant on Friday nights that was called, what was it called? La something. Help me out here. What was it called? I can't remember. La Pietra. That's what it was called. La Pietra. La Pietra, which means the stone. Anyway, they would serve pasta fagioli, pasta e fagioli. Pasta with beans. That was the soup. But they would pronounce it pasta fagiù, pasta fagiù, pasta fagiù. So in the song they call it pasta fagiù. When the stars make you drool, just like pasta fagiù, that's amore. When you dance down the street with a cloud at your feet, you're in love. When you walk in a dream, but you're not dreaming, signore. Scusami, 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 but you see, back in old Napoli, that's amore. Madonna. All right, that's one to keep in the back of the stack of songs. Palazzo. Okay. Richard, thank you. Richard says that his cat is loving my singing. I'm big. Yeah. The quadrupeds. I'm quite popular with quadrupeds. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Okay, well, thank you for tuning in. This has been the no-show for Friday, the 3rd of May. I'll be here at 9 always, every single night at 9 always. When the things you've planned need a helping hand, I'll be here at 9 always, always. Days may not be fair always, that's when I'll be there always. Not just for an hour, not just for a day, not just for a year, but always, always here at 9. Thank you so much for your ears. Thank you for your eyes. And thank you for your Wi-Fi so you can tune in. Oh, thank you, Z in Hawaii. Aloha, and you're giving us a little bit more wisdom, human wisdom. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. That is great. Thank you. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. Wow. Thank you, Z. That's great. All right. Thank you, Donald. Thank you, Neurogeezer. Thank you, Astral Shoals. Thank you, David. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Leslie. Yes, dinner soon. Let's do that. Next week, Brooklyn, take the boat over here. All right. I'll see you all soon. Thanks a lot. Mahalo.